Okay, Unit 4, Review 3. I'm going to talk about as we fulfilled our manifest destiny in the age of Jackson, coming up to the Civil War, we're going to have a lot of issues regarding sectionalism, and most of our issues are going to revolve around admission of new states into the Union and an increase or decrease in the amount of slave states and free states. We're trying to keep a balance in the Senate. All right, in Congress. The House of Representatives is going to belong to the free states to the north because their populations are growing. Their population grows because of immigration and opportunity. All right, we have a fairly closed economy and society in the South that doesn't really bring about a lot of new population growth. Okay, so the South is lost and the slave states have lost the House of Representatives, and they're not going to get it back, at least not through population growth, but maybe through the inclusion of new states that would allow for an increase in population, they could get the House back. Meanwhile, we want to keep a balance in the Senate. We have about 11 states each. We have 11 states each. How about it? And I put up the chart on the north and south over here, developing along different lines. I want you to be aware of that, all right? So anyway, as we're trying to keep a balance in the Senate, we're going to have a number of compromises, failed compromises, which will be one cause of the Civil War. The first is a compromise of 1820, or the Missouri Compromise. Note by both names, it's going to be proposed by Henry Clay, okay? So we're on this path, and it is about slavery since 1787, since the Constitutional Convention we're arguing about. All right, so what we have with the Missouri Compromise is Missouri wants to come in as a state. All right, and if it comes in as a free state or a slave state, it'll upset the balance. All right, so we have two sides in Congress trying to maintain the balance, and they can't agree to anything. Eventually, in 1820, Maine will apply for statehood. So Henry Clay comes up with the compromise. We'll allow Maine in as a free state. Missouri will come in as a slave state. Okay. And we're going to draw a line along the 3630, all right, parallel, which will establish where we can have slave and free states in the future. Okay, so all of that unorganized territory up north is supposed to remain free. Remember that, because it's going to change. The South is going to try and rework this bargain, this compromise, a number of times when they realize they're going to lose the Congress, the Senate. Okay. So this one's supposed to last. Henry Clay, 3630, Maine's free, Missouri's slave. 1850, we run into another problem, okay, because California, right, we had the gold rush in 1849, right, so California in 1850 is going to apply for statehood sooner than most people thought, all right. So what's going to come about because of this is there's going to be a few parts of the compromise 1850 you have to know. California comes in as a free state. All right, the territory of New Mexico, which also includes Arizona and Utah at this time, is going to be allowed popular sovereignty. Popular sovereignty means the people in that territory can vote on the issue of slavery. And you can see already we're above that 3630 line, which is supposed to have banned slavery. The slave trade, but not slavery itself, is going to be banned in Washington, D.C., in the nation's capital. So you can still own a slave in the capital, but we can't sell them anymore in the capital, okay? And then as a concession to the South, so we have California as a free state, we have the banning of slavery in D.C., all right? Those are things the North likes. We have popular sovereignty that can go either way, but we're going to pass a fugitive slave law, a very harsh fugitive slave law that's going to require Northerners to participate in the return of runaway slaves, regardless of the legality of slavery in that state. So even if slavery is illegal in that state, they have to return runaway slaves. All right. So this is going to really turn Northerners against slavery and help bring about a rise in the abolitionist movement, okay? It's forcing them to participate in slavery. Don't like that, okay? The next one we'll talk about is the Kansas-Nebraska Act, okay? The Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854 creates territories of Kansas and Nebraska, opening new lands for settlement, and allowed the settlers in those areas to determine whether or not they would be free or slave states. Again, popular sovereignty, all right? And this was problematic because people are going to race in there on both sides to try and sway elections and votes, okay? So we'll see the rise of bloody Kansas, bleeding Kansas at this time, okay? And the first violence really of the Civil War between abolitionists and pro-slavery forces, okay, as they try to swing elections, all right? This is going to be the same year in 1854 that the new Republican Party is formed, okay? And they are against the expansion of slavery into territories. All right, review 3.